Hello everybody, so I'm gonna do a teardown of this thing, and if anybody's interested to see the secrets that the compadre holds by Kanu knives, you're gonna need a couple little things to do something like this. So a driver, of course, anything that's gonna hold, a standard Torx bit, 1/4 inch, or like specialty, the smaller ones. This is a T8 that's in here. You're also going to need a T6 because this particular unit has 3 T6 screws, which is not the end of the world. Just in case this has, a pivot system where I may be able to change into some skiffs, because skiffs are elite. I have a pivot and bearing thickness reading card right there. And then, of course, KPL and a little rag to clean any of the internal juices. So let's go ahead and start with just stripping this thing down. Chances are I think we might be able to just get away with leaving the clip on, because this is something that's a little interesting. I swear to you guys, the full-size version of the compadre, the full-size padre was all T8 all over the place, except for maybe the hardened steel insert and over travel stop tab there. But this one has a couple T6s, not that big of a deal. We can start with these guys down here. They are definitely snug, but these are wonderful screws. They are steel, I believe, because why else would they be magnetic? So steel hardware, should be a tight clip and a tight back spacer with a, I believe, PVD coating. I'm not sure if it's actually a DLC coating on the pivot, screws, backspacer, and clip. So who knows? I don't know. I don't think that's a detail that's specified on Kanu's website, and I think it would actually be pretty important, just because every little detail matters when you're spending, what these knives cost. Yeah, this thing is $300. Ouch. Yes, a good bit of money, definitely, but absolutely worth it if this is something, this is a price territory that you are familiar with. I will say that these guys bring the heat for sure. Well, there goes that, and I will never find that again, so that's great. There goes the pivot. Let's go ahead and open this up. This thing should just pop out. You can see that is D-shaped right there, and yeah, we're not putting skiffs in this, so it's fine, not a big deal. They're using their, I mean, I wouldn't call it proprietary multi-row pivot system, but they, I don't believe Skiff Workshop, Skiff Blade Works, Skiff Bearing, whatever. I don't think they do things of this size at the moment. Not a big deal if they don't. The bearings that come installed from the factory are plenty good, and in a few short weeks, with some love and use, of course, this thing should be, just as drop shutty as the full size. It's hard to keep this polished DLC clean. It's always gonna look like shit, honestly, but I don't mind, because hey, it's polished DLC, so what do you expect? All right, so actually I really need to find that pivot. Here it is. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so yes, a little bit of gunk on there, kind of keeping it stuck, but yeah, this is a little Timascus. You can see a little bit of the color popping through, a little bit of shifty, the blues, the purples, a lot of that going on. It's nice. These pivots, whether it's the face or the T8 screw access side, whatever you want to call it, they always come like semi-scuffed already from the factory. I'm not too sure why. It just seems like it's kind of a thing. You can see on some of the corners it's a little bit lighter. And I literally just opened this, freshly unboxed, like less than an hour ago, and I'm already making more content on it. Why? Because it's what I gotta do. So Here's a backspacer. You see how that is, you know, integrated into everything. Even the backspacer has weight relief. You could see how much effort they put in to get as much weight off of this thing as possible. You can see that right there is the garage stop, which is elite. That is one of the best ways to do it. It's just clean, it feels a little bit better, you know, less likely to have any up and down rock in the future, as long as it's machined properly, of course, you know. Hardened races. One side is kind of rounded off, so there is a top side, there is a bottom side. You can flip it if you want. I don't really think it would matter. It seems to have the same sheen and finish to both sides, but for whatever reason, if you find that maybe you have screwed down your pivot into oblivion and have dented these potentially, and you're lucky enough to have not cracked your ceramic bearings, you can just flip it to the other side and you'd be just fine. This knife comes with 0 extras. The only thing this knife does come with is some vape juice. I mean, some lubricant, which I don't really care to use. I'm just not a fan of that kind of stuff. I would much rather spend my hard-earned money on something like KPL. No, I don't get anything for saying that. I'm just a happy customer that, you know, bought a 3-pack variety pack of KPL like last Christmas, I think, or maybe past that, and I'm not even a quarter into them, and I take apart every single knife multiple times. I don't like having my things dirty at all. I like having things very clean and neat looking, especially if I know that I'm, you know, going to be going through the rotation process with new things that I've purchased. So I mean, this side doesn't really need to be taken apart. You could see that this is another screw attached to the barrel that goes all the way through, which it's not going all the way through. Is this captured as well? No, it's not. Oh, okay, there it is. Yeah, it's right there. And this is the pocket clip, which is absurdly tight in the pocket. I will be bending that out off camera. Chances are I might be able to get it to float just a hair. I'm talking like I might be able to easily pass a piece of notebook paper between the scale and the clip face, because this thing, the tension on this is just, oh man, like your pants are coming off if you're taking this knife in and out of your pocket, which it's a real easy fix for sure. I wish you didn't have to do that on a brand spanking new knife, but again, not a big deal. Just wipe down the pivot. It is captured. What's interesting is that I have noticed that while I have experienced higher overseas Chinese production knives that have rounded and D-shaped or captured pivots, this is the one to, I guess, offer the most drag in a way, because it is not a full cylindrical shape. There is a space where it kind of drops off, and that is the flat to capture. There is a more, I guess, fancier way to do this. I have seen it with, I think Monterey Bay Knives and maybe Vero Engineering does something with their pivot where the blade rides, it's fully cylindrical, but the very end, it's actually D-shaped, and that is the absolute best way to do a captured pivot, unless you do something similar to how Wii or Civivi does when they have a little nub right there that corresponds with a nub on, you know, the face of, you know, whether it's a pivot collar or the scale itself. That's one way to do it. I feel like that might be a little bit more tedious. Maybe when these pieces are being machined, that's something that could be done in the future. Really, that's a super nitpicky little thing. It doesn't bug me at all. I don't think that they cheapened out, but I'm sure they know of that concept or, you know, design idea, and just don't really think that it's worth integrating it yet. You know, I never say never, right? But that's something that could be a microscopic improvement in the overall I guess, fit and finish. It may even aid in, the solidity of the knife overall and improvement in the action, definitely. I know when you're spending this kind of money on a knife, it's the little details that matter. And while we have this thing opened up, we can get a closer look at the over travel tab. Everything is just beautifully softened and machined. No snaggy little pieces, no like machining fuzz or fragments or splintering or nothing. There's the lock face right there, nice and clean, no grime or nothing. The detent ball, ceramic detent ball, is on the larger side, and it seems very well inset, about halfway depth, which is wonderful. So it's not sticking out too far. You're not gonna risk it like coming off or anything crazy like that, which is honestly kind of rare for overseas production knives. I mean, I personally haven't heard of people having their detent balls fall off. So yeah, it's kind of rare. Hey, let me know if you guys have ever run into an issue with that happening. Now, speaking of balls, we have the multi-row, or I suppose offset, ceramic bearings in a Teflon cage. Now these things are angled in a way. It has like a little flared out side. I personally don't really think it matters what side you do it on. I don't like the Teflon itself is super smooth. I don't feel like any little edge or really anything. But I'm just gonna do it with, I guess, the smaller side contacting the blade. So let's just start building our little sandwich here. And we can do whatever. We could just do the original, not a big deal. Heavy's cool. I feel that the KPL heavy helps to break things in faster, but my favorite thing to use the heavy on is washer knives. I think that's definitely the best because it stays in there longer and it doesn't just like squeeze out, easily. So I overdo it with this stuff. Yes, I do. That's okay. Not a big deal. A lot of it's just gonna come out a little bit, and I could just wipe it off throughout, my day of, flicking it and, using it. We could even take tiniest little bit, just put it there just to help with the detent ball. That is honestly way too much, but it's okay. Not a big deal. And let's just start getting everything back together. What was that? That was the steel race. And okay, this side down. Okay, there we go. I'm not even gonna mess with the lock bar tension because honestly, I think it is just fine. I had made a comment in my unboxing video stating that it may be needing of adjustments just for me being a picky bastard, but realistically it doesn't need anything. It doesn't need any adjustment. Make sure to put that pivot collar on. So let's get that pivot screw, reverse, just thread it in. Don't crank it down all the way, but pretty close. And then we can go ahead and do the body. I just noticed something kind of weird, and I'll show you in a second, but the pocket clip screws are actually of two different sizes or lengths, thread lengths. So I believe it's to accommodate for, the overall compact nature. I mean, they really are fitting a lot into this overall design, which I think is just freaking wonderful. See how it's larger here and it's a little bit tighter there. That's just something they did. I'm pretty sure the shorter screw, which is right here, I'll show you. Pretty sure the shorter screw goes into that hole. Reverse, going in all the way. Yep, not sticking out, not fighting at all to get it seated down all the way. And then the longer one, yep, the longer one goes all the way through. That's wonderful. Now we can start snugging things up. We didn't even have to use a T6, which is, Nice. I mean, you really don't even need to interact with the T6s at all. So that's cool. I mean, the only time you'll ever really need to interact with the T6s is if you are going to flip the clip to the other side, which I'm sure is very easily done. I'm not going to do it here because there's no reason for me to do that. But also maybe to bend the clip a little bit if you have a different technique, or maybe you don't want to bend it while it's attached to the knife, which I understand. Some people may think that's a little sketchy. That's okay, not a big deal. You know, do whatever you'd like to do with your knife, of course. Let's go ahead and snug down the pivot. It doesn't need much, and it's perfectly centered. Side to side, nothing up and down. Wonderful. Yeah, good as new, maybe even a little bit better. And now it's ready to go to work. Very excited to be carrying this at work the next couple days. After using this for a couple days, I'm gonna take something else out of my favorite knives, use that for a little bit, let this sit for a second, and then pick it up in a couple days, just to not have this thing hog all the time in my pockets. I still love carrying plenty of other things out of my collection. But yeah, so that's the internals. That's the teardown of the compadre. Hopefully this helps you guys with answering any sort of questions on maybe what kind of value is really in this. You guys could see all the machine work that was put into this. There's a lot going on here from an engineering standpoint. The build overall, these knives are just worth every damn freaking penny. And while I am not known for spending a whole lot on knives, I'm very happy to have this in my collection. I had the full-size one originally, and while it sucks that that's gone, I'm very happy to have this, and I think that this is a whole lot more appropriate for my line of work and for day-to-day carry. Just something with a little bit of attitude. So I like it. I think it's pretty darn sweet. So, but that's it. If you guys like the video, go ahead and leave a like down below. If you are subscribed, thank you so much. I appreciate all your support and your patience, of course. If you are not subscribed, please consider subscribing, as I play more videos and content coming guys this way. With that being said, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.